This was an epic trip, flying 60 miles up to Norfolk Paragliding Club. It was a bit touch and go in places. Didn't think I was going to make it actually, but finally did. It's very foggy at the moment, but the fog does clear, but I do have some issues to contend with. So it's 7:25 in the morning. As you can see, it's quite foggy, but it's quite bright, so hoping the sun is going to burn the fog off. I haven't got the sock up yet. I'm just going to get the sock up. We have an easterly wind. My little grandson airfield, East Field, so it's good for easterly takeoffs. Just wait for it to clear, really. I'm off on an epic adventure. So the plan today is to go up to Norfolk Hang Gliding and Paragliding Club, which is just west of Norwich, I believe. So I'm going to land there. Kieran's very kindly offered to supply me with fuel to come back, so should be fun. Looking forward to it. Right. Let's do this. So after waiting for half an hour or so, the fog did clear. The grass is very wet, so I've got a wet wing, and it's pretty much nil wind launch. So wish me luck. Before I took off, Mark very kindly sent his drone up to find out what the fog situation was, and as you can see, it's kind of cleared, but it is patchy, so there are places where it's still quite foggy, but it's good enough to fly. So I'm going to try and head towards the paragliding club. But when I get some altitude, I noticed that the wind is actually quite strong above around 500 feet. So I need to keep low in order to make progress. If I go too high, then my speed drops down so much that I don't think I'm going to make it on a full tank of fuel. But keeping down low, I do seem to be able to be making enough progress, and with quick calculation, I think I'll get there with maybe 2 or 3 litres of fuel. So here I am just flying low. However, when I get to Long Stanton, I see that the fog also kind of reappears. So I climb up, get a bit of altitude at this point just to see how patchy it is, and if I can kind of bunny hop across from clear patch to clear patch. So what I'm very conscious of at this point is if I get an engine failure, I need to be able to see the ground to be able to land at all times. So I kind of look across and I can see that actually, although it does look very foggy when you're looking across the landscape, when you look directly downwards, the fog is quite thin and there are plenty of clear patches. So I decide to press on. However, the further I get into the flight, the fog seems to be thickening more and more, and the clear patches are getting less frequent, and the fog is getting slightly thicker as well. So although I can see through most of it, there are some patches which I can't. So what I decided to do is to fly, basically do a 90-degree turn to the left, because I can see in the distance that there's a clear part of the fog. So I have to deviate my course. Now I'm wondering at this point, if I deviate from my course, am I going to be able to make it to the paragliding club? Nevertheless, I decided to do so, and I kind of see Ely Cathedral in the distance, so that was a good decision, I think. It's not good to fly over really thick fog if you haven't got enough altitude to glide to a clear spot. You don't want to be landing on houses or power lines or anything like that. So I make it to Ely, which is quite clear, so I think this is going to work. So I'm keeping low again just to make some penetration into wind. So we have an easterly wind. I'm flying kind of northeast. But beyond Ely, I can see that the fog is kind of gathering again, so Ely's clear, but beyond Ely on my path towards the club I can see it's not clear. So I text Kieran and I tell him I don't think I'm going to make it, because if I get altitude there's too much wind and down low there's too much fog. And Kieran tells me it's clear, so I decide to press on, and actually just past Ely, within about 5 minutes flight northeast of Ely, the fog completely clears, and this part of the flight is the end of it. So from this point onwards there's no fog at all, and I can keep low and make some good progress. This is Oxbow Hall. Despite its fortified appearance, the moated hall was intentionally built as a family home and completed in 1482. And the Bedingfields had lived here ever since surviving the Civil War, periods of near dereliction, and then the 20th century was under the threat of demolition, but still there. So at this point I'm almost at the paragliding club, and there's the landing zone. So I come in high just in case the paragliders are operational, but I can see that the winches are not out yet. What happens here is there's a motorised winch at one end of the runway, and that basically pulls the paraglider pilots up. That's Kieran and Simon there waiting for the winch to be set up. So I just come in for a landing, say hello to the guys, have a coffee and some lunch. So as you can see, the wind at this point has got a bit stronger. It's probably 5 or 6 miles an hour now. It was nil wind when I took off on the ground.
Nicely done.
Nicely done.
Right on the marker. How was the trip?
Oh god.
Bit long?
It was longer than I expected.
So the paragliding looks really fun. You can see Kieran being winched up. Quite tempted to have a go myself. I think it's quite satisfying to find a thermal and stay up. A couple of the guys managed to stay up for half an hour or so. I think the instructor actually managed to get all the way over to King's Lynn, just from hopping from thermal to thermal.
Go ahead, over.
Tony, the Paramotor's going to depart when it's clear to do so. Any idea when it would be a good time?
Yeah, whenever he's ready.
You ready to go?
Yep, I am.
Cool, thanks for all the fuel.
So the outbound leg, the trip over, took me 2 hours and 47 minutes. I hang around for quite a while actually, for about 3 hours at the paragliding club, just watching the guys doing their thermaling, just chilling out, having a coffee, having some food, and then I decide to come back. So on the way back, I'm going to fly directly south so I can go to Bury St Edmunds, then to Newmarket, Cambridge, and then back to Little Cranston. And I see these lovely clouds on the way, so as you can see they're not too high, around 5,000 feet, so I decide to climb up and do enjoy flying around in the clouds. Have a play around in these clouds on the way directly south, and then continue down to Bury St Edmunds. So it's lovely and smooth up here. Once you get below the cloud level, the winds are quite gusty, and the sun is getting stronger now as we're getting into mid to late March. So the lower I go, the more I can encounter thermals, so I get bumped around a little bit. So this is Rougham Airfield in Suffolk. This is Simon's home field. So I've flown from here before. If you want to see that, if you look at the there's a video called Suffolk. And now we're heading into Bury St Edmunds, which was built on a grid pattern by Abbot Baldwin around 1080. So lots of history, really nice place. If you've not been, definitely worth a visit. And the cathedral down there is called Edmundsbury Cathedral. This here is Saxon Hall, a Grade 2 listed building dating from 1798. And we're now heading over Newmarket, which is often referred to as the headquarters of British horse racing. And it's the home to the largest cluster of training yards in the country. And racing in Newmarket was recorded in the time of James I, and itself was founded in 1636. So lots of history around here. There's a little Gransden airfield is quite near to Cambridge. I do go over Cambridge fairly often, and I do enjoy it. Never get bored of seeing all the beautiful buildings in Cambridge. There's King's College down there. So I decided to just fly along the west side of Cambridge and have a look at the buildings as the sun is kind of lighting them up from this side. And then I'm only about 20 minutes away from Little Gransden. And as I come in, I see a plane taking off, so I'll go around the runway and then head up to the top there to the east field, which is on the other side of those buildings, and then come in for a landing. So I've just landed. What an epic flight. So took off from Norfolk all the way down to Bury St Edmunds and then across to Cambridge via Newmarket as well. Landed at Little Gransden. 5:30 p.m. now. Took off with a full tank, thanks to Kieran for filling me up. A little bit scary in the morning with the fog. There's a couple of moments where I couldn't see the ground, so I had to get some altitude, but then when I got altitude the wind was too strong. I thought I wouldn't make it all the way to Norfolk, so I had to kind of tack over 90 degrees to find some clear ground and then drop down and get some speed. But made it with 2 litres, so that was good. Anyway, here's my wing. I've tied up my wing now. There's a sock there, strong easterly wind. So thanks for watching.